Garden gnomes are an essential part of German garden culture. They come in all shapes and sizes, with lanterns, with sunglasses, and even in bathing clothes. They are a typical German product. But what is it that has made them to such an international export article?
Between 2005 and 2008, the proportion of German gnome production destined for export rose from 15 to 30%. Nowadays, every third gnome leaves the country. So first up, is the garden gnome tradition being upheld in modern Germany? No gnomes here. Just one gnomic individual here. But on this balcony in downtown Berlin, we finally find out where they've all been hiding. Nowadays, there are an estimated 20 million of the little guys in Germany, one gnome for every 4 Germans. Vigor is now off to the federal state of Thüringen, which claims to be the birthplace of the garden gnome. The Trusertal Gnome Park is a great place to learn about gnome history.
Why does every 4th German need a garden gnome?
The garden gnome comes from the Baroque and is a noble illusion today.
Ah, an illusion.
Apparently, it was originally the nobility that collected gnomes.
Among all the different gnomes here in the park, I've picked 3 highlights which don't look very noble to me.
In third place, this vulgar chap is enjoying non-aristocratic fast food. The silver medal goes to this little fellow who likes to get around on a pig. Yeehaw! But number 1 in the gnome charts, well, I'm not even sure I should be showing you these gnomes. Moving swiftly on to the garden gnome factory belonging to Reinhard Griebel. His great-grandfather Philip Griebel invented the domestic garden gnome way back in the 19th century. Vigor asks where his great-grandfather got the idea for his garden gnomes.
Well, the garden gnomes were based on mountain folk who worked in mines, and they were often used in advertising because they were considered very hard-working. And people then started putting them in their gardens.
Garden gnomes as working-class heroes. Let's see whether they still get respect from modern Germans.
Germans love their garden gnomes, but how do they react when suddenly a lonely gnome turns up on their doorstep?
Time to find a home for a gnome. This woman clocks the little guy, but closes the door in his face. These 2 kids think the gnome's quite cute, but they decide his place is standing guard outside the house. This rather older gentleman takes a closer look and, yes, even decides to invite him in. And finally, this juvenile is happy to have a new playmate, but unfortunately for Mr. Gnome, he plays too rough. Things were going quite well, but contact with modern Germans ultimately proves fatal for the traditional garden gnome. Summing up, Germans still love their gnomes, but more and more of them are seeking their fortunes in far-off lands. The Gnome Liberation Front has encouraged the little people to throw off the shackles of human oppression and leave their gardens far behind. If you meet one, be sure to treat him right. The search goes on, the search for the truth about Germany.